Hello, welcome to Conjured Universe. I'm Chris,
And I'm Nick.
and we are back with Chapter 3, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
So, being in this one, it sounds like Harry had a really rough school life, being chased all the time.
Yeah, chased, bullied, beaten up, slapped, punched, kicked, etc., etc.
You name it, it's happened.
It's happened. Just outside of Chapter 3 for a second, I don't condone bullying, nor do I approve of it in any type of way. But this is a book, and this is what we need to discuss because it is part of the story. So back into it.
Okay, so Dudley's getting into this new school, and he's got a school uniform. What do you think of his hitting stick?
I think it's hitting a hitting stick. Now,
so the hitting stick was for the other kids in the school to whack each other while the teacher wasn't looking because they said builds character.
The first thing I thought of when I thought about that is, what timeline does this book line series take place in? Because I don't recall a time where that was ever okay.
Maybe it's just in this Harry Potter universe that it seemed like a fun thing to add. I think it's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. It kind of reminded me of when a teacher, especially at a religious school, would whack a student across the knuckles with the ruler. But that's not the same, though. This is kids whacking other kids with basically a billy club type of stick, or
it's like a cane almost.
Yeah, it's like a cane. I can't think of the word off the top of my head for it, but I just thought it was kind of funny, and Harry thought that he looked absolutely ridiculous.
He probably did. Not gonna lie, probably looked ridiculous.
I mean, it was pretty darn funny that.
So aside from all that, it was I thought that was interesting. Sticks for hitting each other. But right after that, Harry gets his letter, and it was addressed to Harry with the room under the stairs. How many people know that Harry had a room under the stairs?
Can't be a whole lot. I mean, I imagine that it was...
Probably the family members know about it, like the other Dursleys.
Yeah, the other Dursleys.
So on.
Didn't Mr. Dursley have a sister? And her name escapes
Marge?
Me. Was it Marge?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't remember.
I don't know, but we are going to establish he did have a sister. Hey, let us know what the sister's name is in the comments below, please.
We have bad memories.
Yeah.
So Harry wasn't allowed to read the letter, and Vernon and his wife Petunia, that's her name, right?
Yeah, Petunia.
Okay,
Vernon and Petunia.
They read it, and it basically made them feel. It looked like they saw a ghost when they read it.
That being said, they know what it is. They're like, no, it can't be true. It can't be true. He cannot be one of them.
Well, they said they thought they were being watched and spied on, but they never referred to as who they were.
But we know that they were, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious.
And they all of a sudden they freaked out, like, oh my goodness, they know that we keep him underneath the staircase, like he's diseased essentially, almost. And I don't know, the whole underneath the stairs thing. That I have a small closet room underneath my staircase, and I'm creeped out to go inside of it half the time.
Yeah, there was a mentioning of how spiders would crawl down.
Spiders would crawl down, and he was just like cool with it because it's like, yeah, that's just what's down here.
It just happens. Don't worry, it's just spider. I wonder if he gave him names.
Boris.
Boris the Spider.
Boris the Spider. Hey, anyone who knows what that's in reference to, I want to know about it. Let us know.
So what they did when
you know what
they got the letter?
That's in reference to?
No, I don't.
You don't know what that... I'm going home. No, I'm kidding. It's okay.
I'll figure it out later.
That's fine. Just let me know who it is.
But what they do after they got the letter,
they essentially destroyed it. No, let me back up for a second. They Harry actually got the letter because Vernon yelled at him to get the letter, and it wasn't with Vernon and Petunia. Petunia. I mean, okay, that's the name of the character. So
Go with it.
I can't switch it. So Petunia. So Vernon, go get the mail, Potter. Okay. So he goes gets the mail. He sees this letter, and oh my goodness, it's a letter to me. No one knows who I am. I don't even know who I am. I just been living under the stairs since I got here.
Yeah, he's a nobody. How does anybody, really?
So he's super excited. I would be too if I was in that situation.
I get excited for mail now, unless it's a bill.
Yeah, Bill. Why do I keep getting Bill's mail? Let me know if you guys know what that's in reference to. Anyway, before we get completely sidetracked and talk about other stuff, so he's super excited to get a letter from anybody about anything. He doesn't get a letter. Good thing it wasn't a bill. But so he gets it. He looks at it, and Nick, you said earlier, it's addressed to, and now I can't remember.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
The covered under the stairs.
That was it. That's the part I can't remember. And all of a sudden, Vernon sees it.
Well, it has like a wax seal with a coat of arms on the back.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, it has. Oh no, it had the symbols of
the houses.
Different houses.
That's a coat of arms. Yeah.
That's the thing that it was. I call it something different. Nick calls it something different, but we both end up in the same place when we're done. Anyway, so he gets the letter, and Vernon sees it, and
they just immediately know what it is.
They instantly know what it is. So that tells me that they know.
They've been expecting it.
Yeah, they almost have been expecting it, and they were trying to conceal Harry as best as they can. We still don't know why. I'm hoping we find out why later on in the series, but we still don't exactly know why. And to my knowledge, we don't know why. Even if you watch the movies, we still don't know why, because they never really talked about the Dursleys that much in the movies.
Yeah. So after they get the letter and they read it, and they don't let Harry see what it is, they burn it, don't they?
They burn it. They tear it up, burn it. Didn't they eat one of them at one point? I can't remember. It would not surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That would have been a nice little thing to throw in there. I may have read that. I may not have.
Well, I don't know what happened with it, but it scared them enough that they moved Harry up to Dudley's second room.
Yeah, with all of his busted toys he didn't have for even a month in some cases.
How did Dudley react to that?
He threw a fit. I mean, he went out of his mind more than usual because I don't want him in my room. Like, that's the voice I hear. I don't want him going into my room. I need that room. Boo-hoo.
He even says that, like, he didn't he kick his mom?
Yeah, he started kicking his mom. And
what a spoiled, rotten little brat.
Harry's like, are you serious? He's going to throw a tantrum about this? And then shockingly, Vernon says, no, he's getting this room, and that's going to be that. Now,
that surprised me.
Yeah, that surprised me too. And now all of a sudden, Harry's like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm actually going to get the room? This is pretty serious stuff. Now I want to know what's in this letter.
And sure enough, another letter does arrive. And it's literally a mad dash to the door mail slot for it. Didn't Dudley, Vernon, and Harry all run for it at the same time?
Ran, yep, all at the same time. Vernon, and one thing I couldn't figure out is, based on the description of these characters, how did Vernon and Dudley outrun Harry to the door? And oddly, I think it was Vernon that beat everyone to the door, and he just...
Well, I'm sure he shoved everyone out of the way of the door.
Yeah.
But they...
So he got the letter and immediately destroyed it, and now the frustration for Harry sets in.
It was addressed to Harry Potter in the smallest bedroom now.
Yeah, so now he's shaking in his boots. Vernon, is shaking in his boots. Now he's scared. And now they for sure know that they're being watched.
Well, yeah. And now... it was that night or that morning or something, Harry goes to sneak to the door to get
the following morning,
and he steps on Vernon's face.
Yep, and it's like, all right, okay, you got me. And he collects the mail again, destroys the letter again,
and he's doing everything he can. He nailed the letter slot shut.
Yep,
and he went around the whole house and plugged up any cracks, anything, but the letters still came.
Yep. Express version, still got the letters.
They even said they were in eggs. They got delivered eggs,
They
and the
got delivered
letters
eggs, and
were
the
in the
letters were
eggs.
in the eggs. Those must have been some pretty big ostrich eggs, maybe.
Maybe.
Have you ever had an
I was
ostrich
thinking
egg?
about that. How do you fit the letter in
I never
little?
had an ostrich egg. They say it tastes the same as
They
a
say
regular egg.
it's the size of a dozen regular eggs.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm not about to eat a dozen eggs, but I did see videos of them being prepared before. They do look pretty tasty, but not to get sidetracked, but back on track. We're not talking about eggs. We're talking about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Chapter 3.
The next part is the letters still come, and it was Sunday, and Vernon's pleased because there's no post on Sunday.
No, the mailman don't deliver on Sunday.
Well, they weren't being delivered by mailmen.
That's true.
So the letters start pouring down the chimney, and
this part I remember from the movie a little bit. They did touch base on that a very little in the movie.
But Harry still never, in the movie, Harry was able to open the letter there. But in the books,
and the
Vernon
was
still managed
he still somehow managed to avoid having Harry grab any of these letters to open them up to read them.
That was the last straw for Uncle Vernon. And he packs everyone up in the car. Let's go.
This is where Vernon loses his mind. And he's like, all right, we're hitting the road. So they basically took the shirts on their back, no food, no nothing. They got into the car and just drove.
And they didn't just drive away. They drove around and backtracked. And it was like Vernon thought he was in some kind of spy movie.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that vibe on it right away.
Well, even said that
he
was like driving and then he'd backtrack and go the way he came, and he was like looking behind him the whole time.
Yeah, to see if he was being watched. That's true. I thought that was. I thought it was kind of crazy that he was just going out of his mind like this. But the one thing before we move further along with what's going on, what if they were all cool with each other though? Like, what if it was just like a regular family? There's families out there. I know there's families out there where an unfortunate accident happens, and the children of the accident, or however you want to say it, ends up living with an aunt or an uncle, or
I'm sure things
or
would
somebody
have been,
else.
Things probably would have been a lot different, but we still don't know why Vernon doesn't want Harry to get these letters. So even if they were all cool with each other,
letters, but it's also just generally speaking.
Well,
they went out of their way to be cruel.
Yeah, but if they were nice to him, that would have been a whole lot obviously better.
True.
But would it have changed who he turned out to be?
That's true. But I'm going. I talked about this building his character, and we've talked about it building his character to have like a humble beginning type of thing. But you could still have a humble beginning and not basically be treated this cruelly. I mean, it's sometimes I just kind of think about how the storyline would change if they were, like they just got along like a regular old family.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have changed a little bit. I think the outcome would have still been, well, it really depends. Would they have been cool with him getting the letter at that point? Or would they have still kept it from him? Which would make him even more suspicious.
They still would keep it from him, but it wouldn't be as obvious that they're trying to keep it from him. Because, there's still some base things that need to happen for the story to actually take place. Even in a similar way, they still have to they still know what he is, or what his parents were at least. Is he the same way? Is he not the same way? Like, how does the wizard thing get passed on? Is it genetic?
Maybe it'll get explained further on, but at this point we're not really sure.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm wondering too. But sometimes I just like, what happens if these people were all just kind of cool with each other?
I think it still wouldn't have changed the outcome. I think they would have still kept the letter from him, just for the the implication of what would happen.
Because I was even thinking about the Dudley's toys and stuff. Harry wasn't allowed to play with anything or touch anything. He wasn't even allowed to watch TV. In fact, when it came to Dudley, they shipped Harry off to the neighbor's house until she busted her leg.
Yeah, and
that we should have talked about a chapter ago, because it was during that zoo thing in chapter 2. We missed that.
Yeah,
I apologize. But the cool part about going forward is we could also re-reference something going backwards.
Right.
So just kind of bear with us.
So anyway, continuing the story from onward, they get to a hotel and they're still getting letters.
They still, and there's a point in this story where Dudley actually stops his what's the right word I want to use for this? I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. But he actually stops and says, "Who wants to get a hold of you so bad, Harry?"
Yeah.
Like there's that one moment where it's just like now I'm kind of like interested in something about you instead of you just invading my space all the time.
Yeah, he
just
didn't.
by being
He
present.
At that very moment, he doesn't hate Harry. It's more like, so what's going on with you?
Yeah, it's like it was a small moment. It didn't. I don't know if it has any significant meaning for later, but that moment just kind of gripped me a certain way. I don't know if it's done that to anyone else.
It's where you see a moment of
just
more of Dudley's humanity.
Yeah, instead of just
or curiosity,
madness that he has in his head the entire time. And I actually kind of like that moment. That moment kind of just gripped me a certain way. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it shows you that Dudley may not be all bad, just mostly bad.
Yeah, just mostly bad. 97, 98%,
99,
99.8%,
more or less. Only a little bit
there.
So far. That of all of what we've read, that's that little snapshot.
Just a little snapshot. One little sentence, and I was like, but that one little sentence, I'm just like, wow. There's a little bit there that's just not complete madness all the time.
So what they do after the hotel?
The hotel. So we kept getting letters at the hotel. I don't exactly remember what they were addressed as, but he got letters at the hotel.
Yep. Wasn't it addressed like hotel or something? Hotel room something.
Room something like that.
I don't remember.
Something like that, and that doesn't sound really good for this purpose. But
so where'd they end up with?
They ended up driving around again, and they drove and drove and drove. They ended up ditching their car for basically a rowboat. That's how I interpreted it when I read it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they rowboated basically out to it felt like the best way I could describe it is almost like an abandoned lighthouse.
Yeah, that's what it
seemed. A small cabin on the top of it,
it seemed like for me.
That. And I mean, like,
and it was bad weather they went out there too.
Yeah, it was. Well, is there any such thing as good weather in the sea half the time? When you're avoiding someone, it's always bad weather. You know that.
Good point. Yeah. But in this small cabin or small, shack, Vernon's pleased with himself. He thinks they've escaped.
He feels he accomplished it. Okay, I did it. And keep in mind, this shack, it's cold, it's windy, it's raining, the weather is terrible. There's holes in the
television.
Wall. There's no television, no internet.
It is like
it's
nothing.
It's like early 19th century type of living, basically.
And
not that there's anything.
Dudley is having a meltdown.
Yeah, he is in ultimate meltdown mode. He doesn't have his games. He doesn't have his computer. He has nothing. There's holes in the wall. There's holes in the ceiling. You can feel the wind whip through the structure as it kicks up.
That just sounds so miserable.
They give the Dursleys give. It's a 2-room structure. They give the wife Petunia. That name gets me every time. And Vernon take the one room with the old ratty bed, and that guy with the face. What's his name? Dudley. He gets the other.
He should be named Turdley because he's just a little turd.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He gets the mattress in the corner, and Harry again. They're on the run. They're on the run now to avoid these letters. They're on the run. They just give Harry a damp old blanket and the corner. And
here you go, Harry. Here's a nice wet blanket.
Here's a
floor's
wet blanket.
Right there.
Floor's right there. Enjoy.
Sleep anywhere you want.
And I went from that moment of, okay, this is pretty. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. He had a moment of clarity, a moment of, it's like, hey, I'm not. I'm actually interested in something that's going on with you right now.
Not being so selfish.
And it goes right back to it.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna say it till I'm blue in the face. I do not like these Dursleys at all.
But still, no explanation why they're running so hard away from
From
letters.
letters. So the chapter concludes basically. There's so they're a quick side note that we're also counting down to Harry's birthday.
Yes, it is literally the exact moment Harry turns 11.
Yeah, Harry turns 11. Basically, an hour or two or three into where they get to this nasty old cabin or building structure, whatever, however you want to say it, shack.
Yeah.
It's basically a shack. So right at the moment he turns 11, there's like thuds on the door, and I'm not talking about like, oh, excuse me, um, uh, uh you want towels? you want me to fluff your pillow? It's like, boom, we need to
it's shake shattering.
Yeah, it's shake shattering. This building moves every time someone pounds on the door, and the chapter basically ends there.
And I guess we're gonna have to wait to find out what happens next. So far, things are starting to pick up a little bit. I think
it is.
They're really starting to ramp things up.
Every chapter I read, I get more drawn into this story. I'm so far
more details, more mysteries.
detail, more information, more structure. I'm loving every second of it.
It's great,
except for the first 8 pages of chapter 1.
Agreed, but you got to set the stage somehow.
Yeah, you do, but I don't know. I don't want to talk about chapter 1 again. If you want to hear me complain about how bad the first half of chapter 1 was, go back to the chapter 1 video.
I'm looking forward to see what's next.
I want to know what's next. Exactly. It sounds like it's going to be fun.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us. This has been Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone Chapter 3. Feel free to check out our Patreon at Conjured Universe.
We will be back with you with chapter 4, and we will continue to do the series. Thank you for your support. Please like and subscribe.
Thanks, guys.